NLP is software for the mind. It's kind of like a manual for your thinking, for your behaviour, for your emotions. And it's kind of like all about what makes you tick. And it's also about, more importantly, understanding what makes somebody else tick. So from a therapist's point of view, if you have the skills to be able to build such deep rapport with somebody that you know you can ensure that the interventions you're using will work, if you can understand perhaps somebody's strategy for change by looking at their eye patterns, if you can understand how to ask the right questions and how to read, more importantly, than what people are saying, what people aren't saying, then you've got an absolutely winning combination for NLP and therapy. My background, past life, was 5 years spent working in child protection, followed by 2 years in a young offenders secure unit. The culmination, a bit of a nervous breakdown, which then prompted me to go off and do some self-funded training. So I studied counselling for a few years and I have an advanced counselling diploma. I studied hypnotherapy, I studied stress management and also Reiki, massage, aromatherapy. And my plan, of course, was to take that into the workplace. Instead, I ended up in sales and business development. I spent quite a few years working in the office furniture industry, followed by a couple of years looking after the UK and Europe for an Australian security company. Well, as a hypnotherapist back in the 90s, NLP was kind of akin to hypnosis. And you know how you have a shelf full of books? I always had a shelf full of NLP books, and I'd read loads. You know, reading NLP and actually thinking that you can do it are a little bit like, would you read a book on surgery and take out your own appendix? Possibly not. And it became really clear to me that if I wanted to really have good results, I had to actually go and train as an NLP practitioner, as opposed to just reading about it in a book and applying what I thought were the correct techniques. Absolutely, of course, yeah, for sure. Right from the very beginning, the basis of NLP is all about rapport. And actually that's the basis of life in general, that's the basis of good relationships. A therapist and a client must have a really deep relationship, a really deep basis of rapport, because otherwise how is that client going to trust the therapist? So rapport is initially the first step. Secondly, sensory acuity, which is all about watching and knowing how to read the tiny physiological changes that we make from moment to moment. So I'm talking about the way that somebody's breathing may change, where they breathe from, how they breathe. I'm talking about their lip size, I'm talking about the colour and the tonus of their skin, for instance. As a really good therapist that is NLP qualified, you will know from moment to moment exactly what's happening with your client, and therefore whether you're getting the response that you want, whether you're getting lip service as opposed to the response you want, or whether you really are not getting the response that you want, which will then enable you, using your newfound linguistic skills, to ensure that you change the way that you communicate, to ensure that you are getting the best for both you and your client. Because at the end of the day, we're after a win-win. No matter how we use NLP, win-win is absolutely integral to the way that we work.